Dear members of the Specialized Academic Council, the applicant, those present, we are pleased to welcome you at our today's meeting. The one-time Specialized Academic Council, DF64, with the right to accept for consideration and conducting the one-time defense of thesis by Dzinh Lань for the Doctor of Philosophy degree in the field of knowledge 01 Education Pedagogy and speciality 011 Educational Pedagogical Sciences was established by the order number 39 of the 23rd of January 2025 on the formation of a one-time Specialized Academic Council with the right to accept for consideration and conducting a one-time defense of the applicant's thesis for the purpose of awarding him the Doctor of Philosophy degree. The Specialized Academic Council, DF64055 was registered in the information system of National Agency for Higher Education Quality Assurance on the 24th of January 2025. Message identification number is 24135. ID of the Specialized Academic Council is 7625. The Specialized Academic Council of Simon Kuznets Kharkiv National University of Economics, DF 64055 includes Chairman of the Council, Alexander Shumsky, Doctor of Pedagogical Sciences, Professor of the Department of Foreign Languages and Cross-Cultural Communication, Simon Kuznets Kharkiv National University of Economics. Reviewers, Tatiana Pogorelova, Doctor of Philosophy and Pedagogy, Associate Professor, Head of the Department of Pedagogy, Foreign Philology and Translation, Simon Kuznets Kharkiv National University of Economics. Irina Gontarenko, Candidate of Pedagogical Sciences, Associate Professor of the Department of Pedagogy, Foreign Philology and Translation, Simon Kuznets Kharkiv National University of Economics. Official opponents: Natalia Terentьева, Doctor of Pedagogical Sciences, Professor of the Department of Physical Education and Sports, National University of Life and Environmental Sciences of Ukraine. Natalia Bakhmut, Doctor of Pedagogical Sciences, Professor, Head of the Department of Theory and Methods of Primary Education, Кам'янець-Подільський, Ivano-Oghienko National University. Based on the attendance registration card of the members of Specialized Academic Council, all members of the Council present at the meeting. On the agenda, we have the defense of thesis by Dzinh Lань for obtaining the scientific degree of Doctor of Philosophy in the field of knowledge 01 Education Pedagogy and speciality 011 Educational Pedagogical Sciences, held in a mixed format. The thesis theme is the development of organizational culture for higher education institutions on the example of universities of the People's Republic of China. The work was done at the Department of Healthy Lifestyle Technologies and Life Safety, Simon Kuznets Kharkiv National University of Economics. Research Supervisor, Oksana Mgirtyczan, Doctor of Pedagogical Sciences, Professor at the Department of Healthy Lifestyle Technologies and Life Safety, Simon Kuznets Kharkiv National University of Economics. And now, let us proceed to the announcement of objective data based on the document submitted by the applicant to the Specialized Academic Council. They are as follows. Application form addressed to the Chairman of the Specialized Academic Council on conducting the defense. Copy of the first page of passport of a citizen of the People's Republic of China with an authorized translation. Copy of master's degree diploma in specialty ideological and political education issued by China West Normal University, People's Republic of China, with the certificate of recognition of a foreign document on education in Ukraine. Extract from the order of admission to postgraduate studies. Academic certificate of completing the relevant educational and scientific program. Research supervisor's conclusion. Extract from the protocol of extended meeting of the department at which the applicant's research results were publicly presented. Conclusion on the scientific novelty, theoretical and practical significance of the thesis results in 2 copies. Consent of the official opponents, reviewers, and the chairman to participate in the work of the one-time Specialized Academic Council. Reviewers' references, opponents' references, thesis text in electronic and printed form. Any other printed copy is kept in the university library. Who has any questions on the above information? So, if everything is clear, the floor for presenting the main points of thesis is given to Dzinh Lань. Please turn on the microphone and share your presentation.
Okay. Do you hear me?
Yes. Can hear you. Okay. We can see your presentation. And now we're listening to you. Please.
Okay. Dear Mr. Chairman, dear members of the Scientific Council, dear attendees, your attention is offered to a report on the topic of the dissertation research, development of organizational culture of higher education institutions, and the example of universities of the People's Republic of China, submitted of obtaining the scientific degree of Doctor of Philosophy in Specialty 011, Educational Pedagogical Sciences. Research Supervisor, Doctor of Pedagogical Sciences, Professor Ms. Oksana Maktichin. Let me skip the discussion of the study's scientific and logical framework and move directly to the synthetic analysis. For Graham, exploring the development of organizational culture in higher education institutions is vital, especially in light of ongoing educational reforms aimed at enhancing competitiveness, fostering international collaboration, and preparing universities for the global knowledge economy. China's experience holds particular relevance due to the significant advancements it has made in higher education reforms, with a strong focus on organizational culture. Chinese universities have managed to successfully blend traditional cultural values with modern management practices, creating institutions that excel in both research and teaching while contributing to national and international progress. This success stems from a deliberate effort to cultivate a shared sense of mission, core values, and an innovation-driven mindset within their universities. In the theoretical section of the study, various approaches to the concept of organizational culture in higher education institutions were examined and defined, drawing on both Chinese and foreign scholarly literature. The key findings are presented on the slide. Notably, it was established that in the People's Republic of China, the concept of organizational culture in educational institutions, particularly in higher education, is broader in scope, as it includes an ideological component that is overseen and controlled by the state through local representatives. These representatives include party branches, trade unions, and non-governmental organizations such as the Alumni Association, the Youth Association, the PhDs Legal, etc., to which the state has delegated certain oversight functions. Additionally, There is an emphasis on cultivating a culture of behavior within administrative offices, which subtly influences the regulation of relationships between all participants in the higher education process. Both Chinese and foreign researchers highlight key features of organizational culture as a modern educational and reputational reality. Organizational culture is not just a passive element, but needs to be actively developed. Its functions extend across several areas, fostering staff initiative, defining organizational structure and internal relationships, shaping the strategy and objectives of the institution, providing support to all members and units of the organization, motivating employees, managing conflicts, and preventing risks. The external level of organizational culture is expressed through visible elements such as corporate traditions, legends, informed rules, employee appearance, office environment, organizational symbols, corporate style, communication practices, formal ceremonies, and corporate events. On the internal level, it is reflected in team dynamics, mutual respect among colleagues, work attitudes, ethical and ideological guidelines, and relationships between the organization and its stakeholders, including consumers, partners, the state, and society. The management of university organizational culture in the People's Republic of China encompasses several key components, including the creation of a dynamic, intellectual, standardized, and effective environment for learning and services. This also involves fostering a strong sense of responsibility, dedication to higher education, and establishing an efficient management style. Additionally, the development of the management system of structural unions, predicting professional growth of employees, ensuring comfortable working conditions, and maintaining high standards of professional acti activity are vital components. The development of organizational culture in higher education in the PRC is influenced by factors such as globalization and regionalism, which shapes the state's goals and strategies for managing university culture. These factors promote the cultivation of unique management strategies, which are then implemented in the real cultural environment of universities. Integration of internal and external components of organizational culture, institutionalization of its formation and development, adherence to traditional hierarchical structures, and the presence of clan-like managerial subordination are also notable influences. In our research, we also studied the organizational and pedagogical conditions necessary for further developing the organizational culture of students in Chinese higher education institutions. These conditions include comprehensive humanitarian training for educators who implement programs and create the educational environment. The formation of a worldview in line with the PRC's national agenda and the geopolitical project One Belt, One Road, and the practical application of psychology in developing students' organizational culture. This research does not fully cover all aspects of the development of organizational culture in higher education institutions of China. Further research needs to examine how different higher education system inner cultures interact, supporting academic and scientific mobility, and fostering positive globalization both in China and abroad. Additionally, future studies should focus on leveraging a organizational culture as a tool for enhancing the competitiveness of specialists in both global and regional labor markets. Thank you.
We thank the applicant for a comprehensive report. And now, dear colleagues, I invite you to ask questions to the applicant. Tatiana Pogorelova, Doctor of Philosophy and Pedagogy, Associate Professor, Head of the Department of Pedagogy, Foreign Philology and Translation, Simon Kuznets, Kharkiv National University of Economics. Tatiana Yurievna, please.
Thank you so much. Dear Dzinh Lань, both in your research and your speech, you mentioned that regionalization and globalization influence modern Chinese universities' organizational culture. Could you please explain your idea? Thank you.
Thanks for your question. Global and regional trends significantly shape the organizational culture of modern Chinese universities. Globalization encourages Chinese institutions to adopt international standards, foster academic exchanges, and embrace English medium programs, promote cross-cultural collaboration and research innovation. Meanwhile, regionalism, particularly within Asia, drives partnerships with neighbor countries, aligns curricula with regional needs, and fosters shared academic initiatives. This process pushes Chinese universities to balance global trends with regional needs, blend traditional Chinese values with modern global educational practices. As a result, the organizational culture evolves to be more open, collaborative, and adaptive. Thank you.
Thank you so much for the answer. I'm fully satisfied. I've got one more question to ask. Okay. In your research, you have studied various ideas about the organizational culture of higher education institutions, and different ideas of researchers were under consideration. Could you please, in a nutshell, conclude what is this phenomenon in the higher education sphere? Thank you.
Thanks for your question. Organizational culture in higher education institutions refers to the shared values, beliefs, and practices that shape the academic and administrative environment. First introduced in the late 20th century, the term originally highlighted the complex dynamics of decision-making, governance, and stakeholder relationships within educational settings. Today, organizational culture encompasses collaboration, inclusivity, innovation, and adaptability in response to global trends. It influences how universities function, affecting student engagement, faculty performance, and institutional reputation. As an educational and management phenomenon, it balances tradition with modernity, ensuring the institution remains relevant and competitive in the evolving landscape of higher education. Thank you.
Thank you so much for the answers.
Tatiana Yurievna, are you satisfied with the applicant's replies?
Yes, I'm fully satisfied. Thank you.
Thank you. Irina Gontarenko, candidate of Pedagogical Sciences, Associate Professor of the Department of Pedagogy, Foreign Philology and Translation, Simon Kuznets, Kharkiv National University of Economics. Irina Sergeyevna, please.
Thank you. Dear Dzinh Lань, in your speech, you mentioned the Chinese geopolitical strategy, One Belt, One Road, which Ukraine as a country joined as well, and which is under consideration of various institutions in our country and university society. Could you please explain how does this strategy in particular influences the organizational culture of universities in China?
Thanks for your question. The One Belt, One Road initiative significantly impacts the organizational culture of modern Chinese universities by fostering international collaboration and cross-border academic exchanges. As universities align with the project's goals, they prioritize multiculturalism, promoting joint research with partner countries and expanding programs in language, business, and regional studies. This global focus enhances diversity on campuses, encourages interdisciplinary research, and prepares students for leadership roles in a globalized economy. The initiative also encourages partnerships with foreign institutions, integrating innovation and international best practices into Chinese higher education, transforming universities into key players in China's global development strategy. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. I'm satisfied with the first answer. And also, I have the second question. In your speech, you mentioned the party branches, trade unions, and non-governmental organizations as a part of organizational culture structure of modern Chinese universities. Could you please briefly describe their role and functions there? Thank you.
Thanks for your question. In modern Chinese universities, party branches, trade unions, and non-governmental organizations play distinct roles in shaping organizational culture. Party branches ensure ideological alignment with the Chinese Communist Party's policies, promote political education and stability. Trade unions focus on faculty and staff welfare, advocate for better working conditions, professional development, and participation in decision-making. Non-governmental organizations engage students and staff in specific courses like community service and academic collaboration, foster innovation and social responsibility. Together, they maintain a structured, politically balanced, and socially engaged university environment that includes both institutional goals and national development priorities. Thank you.
Irina Sergeyevna, are you satisfied with the applicant's replies?
Yes, I'm fully satisfied. Thank you.
Thank you. Natalia Terentьева, Doctor of Pedagogical Sciences, Professor at the Department of Physical Education and Sports, National University of Life and Environmental Sciences of Ukraine. Natalia Alexandrovna, please.
Thank you. Dear Dzin Lань, of course, I'm really excited to be here at this master degree defense, and of course, I have some questions. The first, please, in your mind, in your opinion, how can the research results that present the organizational culture of Chinese universities serve the educational theory and practice of Ukraine? Please, your answer.
Thank you for your question. As Ukraine aims to modernize its education system and align with international standards, studying the development of organizational culture in higher education institutions becomes vital for fostering innovation, improving management, and raising the overall quality of education. China's approach offers a valuable model for balancing tradition with modernity, promoting leadership that encourages collaboration and innovation, and creating an environment conducive to continuous improvement. By analyzing China's experience, Ukraine can gain valuable insights into building stronger and more resilient educational institutions, better prepared to meet the demands of a rapidly changing world. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And the next question. In your research, you have also studied today's organizational culture of universities in Ukraine. In your mind, can any of Ukrainian achievements in this field be useful for China educational field? Please, your answer.
Thanks for your question. The organizational culture of Ukrainian universities offers several valuable lessons for China. First, The focus on student-centered education, where students actively participate in shaping their academic journey, foster innovation and critical thinking. Second, Ukraine's universities emphasize academic freedom, encouraging interdisciplinary research and fostering intellectual diversity. Third, the collaborative relationships between universities and industries in Ukraine promote practical skills development and enhance employability, which could be beneficial for China's rapidly growing economy. Lastly, the flexible governance model in Ukrainian universities allows for adaptability and swift responses to global challenges, a practice that could support China's higher education modernization. Thank you.
Okay, I am satisfied of both of your answers. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Natalia Bakhmat, Doctor of Pedagogical Sciences professor, head of the Department of Theory and Methods of Primary Education, Кам'янець-Подільський, Ivano-Oghienko National University. Natalia Valeryevna, please. Natalia Valeryevna, we're listening to you, please.
I have two. Hello.
Yes, I'm here.
I have two questions for Dzinh Lань. Question one. In your speech, I'm here.
Yes,
You
yes,
listen me?
we can hear you, please. Natalia Valeryevna, we can hear you.
I can hear. I can hear.
Did you listen me?
Yes, 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 yes.
Question one. In
But
your
re-enter-
speech and the thesis.
Natalia Valeryevna, we cannot hear you. Maybe you can re-enter Zoom?
I'm in Zoom. Yes.
Yes, yes, maybe you can re-enter.
Re-enter.
No, okay, okay.
Okay.
Now we can hear you, please.
Okay, thank you. Question one. In your speech and in the thesis, you pay quite a lot of attention to the independence centers and laboratories that are in organization structure and culture of the Chinese universities, and even recommend Ukrainian high educational institution to start such an activity as well to foster the modernization. Could you please, in a nutshell list, what are the main function of the independent research centers and laboratories in the Chinese universities? Thanks.
Thanks for your question. Independent research centers and laboratories in Chinese universities focus on advancing scientific research, fostering innovation, and supporting national priorities. Their primary functions include conducting cutting-edge research, training skilled professionals, and developing practical solutions for industrial and societal challenges. They facilitate international collaboration, enhance technology transfer, and promote commercialization decentralization of research outcomes. Additionally, they provide expertise for strategic policy making in fields like renewable energy, artificial intelligence, and public health. These centers play a pivotal role in bridging academia, industry, and government, driving China's technological advancement and contributing to its global competitiveness in science and innovation. Thank you.
Thank you. Question 2. Quite a promising seems your recommendation as to the Ukrainian universities to make a strong connection between business sector and the university, and even make the business units representatives active stakeholders. In China, you even invite them into university council. So, what is the practical model of cooperation between the business units that are represented in the university council and the university as the educational institution in China? Thanks.
Thanks for your question. In China, the practical model of such cooperation focuses on fostering academia-industry integration. Businesses provide funding, resources, and real-world challenges to guide research and curriculum development, ensuring alignment with industry needs. Universities, in turn, offer expertise, innovation, and the pipeline of skilled graduates through tailored educational programs and joint research projects. Collaborative initiatives include internships, co-developed courses, innovation hubs, and technology transfer agreements. This model enhances the employability of graduates, accelerates technological advancement, and strengthens the university's role as a key driver of regional and national economic development. Thank you.
Natalia Vladimировna, are you satisfied with the applicant's replies?
Yes, I'm satisfied with the applicant's answer.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
As for me, I also have some questions to the applicant. First, Dzinh Lань, tell us please, how state regulations of the education sector correlate with the principles of academic freedom and university independence in terms of organizational culture in China?
Thanks for your question. In China, state regulation of the education sector is designed to align universities with national development goals while balancing academic freedom and institutional independence. Universities operate within a framework of government policies, focusing on strategic priorities like STEM, innovation, and talent cultivation. However, academic freedom is respected within this context, allowing scholars to pursue research and teaching aligned with institutional missions. Organizational culture reflects this duality, emphasizing collaboration with state objectives while fostering an environment for intellectual exploration. Universities maintain autonomy in operational matters, blending state oversight with internal governance to harmonize national priorities with academic and cultural growth. Thank you.
Thank you. And one more question. Could you please share your ideas on the issue whether unification according to a single model and central regulation of the organizational culture of universities is possible and whether it is advisable?
Thanks a lot for your question. In my personal mind, unification of university organizational culture under a single model and central regulation is neither possible nor advanceable. Such an approach undermines the uniqueness of each institution, which is crucial for fostering innovation and addressing diverse societal and market needs. Universities thrive when their organizational culture reflects regional characteristics, academic strength, and industry demands. A standardized model risks creating a rigid system, limiting flexibility, creativity, and responsiveness to evolving market trends. Instead, universities should retain their distinct identities, align with national priorities while tailoring their programs and research to meet local and global challenges effectively. Diversity strengthens educational ecosystems. Thank you.
Dzinh Lань, thank you very much for your replies. I'm quite satisfied. Dear
Thank you.
members, okay. Dear members of the Specialized Academic Council, do you have any other questions to the applicant? Okay, if there are no questions, let us go ahead. Dear colleagues, Dzinh Lan's thesis received 2 references from institutions and organizations with comments that were handed out to you at the beginning of the council meeting for consideration and analysis. In this regard, the floor is given to the applicant to respond to the comments presented in the references. So, Dzinh Lan, please, we are listening to you.
Okay. We sincerely appreciate all the experts who have reviewed our dissertation and provided their feedback. Regarding the comments and the recommendations, we would like to note that the integration of China into the global educational space has a significant impact on the organizational culture of universities. On the positive side, it fosters the internationalization of education, knowledge exchange, and the implementation of advanced educational practices, which enhance the global competitiveness of Chinese universities. On the negative side, however, globalization may lead to the loss of cultural identity and the weakening of traditional values, such as Confucian hierarchy. It can also increase dependence on Western educational models, which do not always take into account the specific social, cultural, and political realities of China. We acknowledge that the higher education system in China is highly diverse, and expanding the sample could provide a more representative picture of the organizational culture of universities. However, within the framework of the study, the primary focus was placed on leading universities as they serve as the driving force behind educational reforms and influence broader trends in the system. The transformation of the organizational culture of Chinese universities is indeed the result of a combination of China's internal policies and the influence of international educational trends. The Chinese education system is actively modernizing in line with state-led reforms aimed at improving the quality of education, strengthening party control, and fostering innovation. At the same time, integration into the global educational space encourages the adoption of international governance standards, academic mobility, and scientific collaboration. We sincerely appreciate the feedback provided and will certainly take it into account in our future research. Thank you.
Thank you, Dzinh Lan. Dear members of the Specialized Academic Council, you have studied the applicant's thesis in detail, prepared and provided references in time. Therefore, we can proceed to the announcement of your conclusions on Dzinh Lan's research. The floor is given to the official opponent, Natalia Terentьева, Doctor of Pedagogical Sciences, Professor. The opponent's reference is in the applicant's file in the Specialized Academic Council and is posted on the university's official website. So, Natalia Alexandrovna, please state the main points of your reference.
Thank you, dear Chairman, dear colleagues, dear Dzinh Lань. I'm sincerely grateful for the opportunity to oppose in the esteemed Academic Council and express my hope for a successful defense of a dissertation research. Since my review is posted on the official website of the one-time specialized Academic Council for the defense of dissertation, let me give you a short version, in particular the relevance, discussion points, and conclusion. May I?
Yes, please.
Thank you. Modern higher educational institutions operate in the context of globalization, intensive introduction of innovative technologies, growing competition in the educational market, and changing public demands. In such conditions, organization culture becomes a key factor in the successful functioning of universities, as it determines not only the internal atmosphere of the institution, but also its ability to adapt to internal challenges, attract students, faculty, and partners, and create a favorable environment for research and innovation. The study of organizational culture is of particular importance in the context of researching universities in the people in the China, which is correctly demonstrating a rapid development in the field of education and science. China has been able to create a powerful higher educational system that has become competitive and in the international arena, international fields. The success of Chinese universities is largely due to the peculiarities of their organizational culture, which combines national traditions, including Confucian values and modern management approaches, focuses on efficiently innovation and international integration. For Ukrainian university, the issue of organizational culture development is extremely relevant in the context of integration into the European higher educational area, improving the quality of education, expanding international cooperation, and improving management approaches. This work in the first to study the theoretical foundations of the functioning and development of the organizational culture of higher educational institutions in China, and it introduce new facts, theoretical ideas, and approaches to understanding the concept of organizational culture as a phenomenon of management and educational practice of modern higher educational institution. Substantiated by Chinese theories and another practical co-workers, identifies common the unique challenges to the further development and modernization of the organizational culture of higher education institutions in Ukraine and China, and attempts to propose solutions through cross-adaptation of experience. In general, while positively assessing the scientific and practical thesis and results, we consider it appropriate to note some discussion points. The first, the work examines the current state of the organizational culture of Chinese higher educational institution. We believe that it would also be advisable to devote a separate paragraph to the genesis of this phenomenon since the mid-20th century, for example, by choosing 1949 as the lower boundary to more clearly demonstrate the dynamics of change and the factors that influences changes in the organizational culture of Chinese higher educational institutions. This material, in our opinion, would be important for the practice of choosing tools for modernization and from the modernization of the organizational culture of higher educational institutions in modern Ukraine. The second, the thesis hardly analyzes the influence and interaction of students' culture with the administrative and teaching components of the organizational culture of universities in China. For example, through students' self-government bodies, but this factor must be taken into account when implementing the Chinese experience in Ukraine. Next, in chapter 2, the author has characterized the main agents of organizational culture that influence its functioning in Chinese higher educational institution and development strategies. In our opinion, the dissertation study lacks information on the correlation of the ideological influence of the state on the organizational culture of Chinese university, which are traditionally the territory of free thought. The next, on pages 178-179 of the dissertation thesis is table 3.3. The main challenges of modern Ukrainian higher educational institutions and the possibility of implementing Chinese experience to address them are identified. In the previous text, these challenges are characterized on the basis of national and sectoral regulations of Ukraine, speeches of Ukraine's leaders, etc., and expected improvements and implementation challenges are identified. However, the thesis lacks information on practical strategies for such implementation. Although specific adaptation mechanisms are proposed, their description, table 3.3, doesn't sufficiently take into account the risks associated with cultural, mental, and administrative differences between our two countries. And the last, the general, we are impressed by the validity of our conclusions and recommendations of the thesis based on the result of the study. However, we consider the provision of the conclusions to task 4 regarding the definition of Confucian values as a factor of the modernization and development of the organizational culture of higher educational institution in China. But these discussion points and our opinion of how to improve the work do not significantly affect the positive impression of the thesis, its theoretical and practical significance. All of the above allows to conclude that the dissertation development of organization culture of higher educational institution on the example of a university of China by Dzínь Lань is an independent completed scientific research which was performed by the applicant personally on the actual topic by means of complex of scientific method. And as a conclusion, the dissertation corresponds to the specialty 011 Educational Pedagogical Sciences, field of knowledge 01 Educational Pedagogy, and the requirements for the design of dissertation research approved by the order of the Ministry of Education and Science of Ukraine of January 12, 2017, number 4, and the procedure of awarding the degree of Doctor of Philosophy and cancellation of the decision of a one-time specialized academic council of a higher educational institution, scientific institution, to award the degree of Doctor of Philosophy, approved to the resolution of the Cabinet of Ministers of Ukraine of January 12, 2022, number 44, and its author, Dzínь Lань, deserve to be awarded the degree of Doctor of Philosophy. Thank you.
We thank distinguished Natalia Alexandrina for the comprehensive reference. The floor is given to Dzínь Lань to respond to the official opponent's comments. Please.
Okay. Dear members of the council, dear Professor Georgieva, we sincerely appreciate your thorough analysis of our dissertation and regarding the comments provided. We would like to offer our explanations. We fully agree with comments 2 and 3 and will certainly take them into account in our future research. We partially agree with comment 1, but we would like to note that the genesis of phenomena of organizational culture in higher education institutions in China requires a separate study in the field of pedagogical comparative research. This is due to the dynamic changes in both the ideological and the social spheres of China over the past 76 years. Such an in-depth scientific investigation was not visible within the scope of our research due to the established volume constraints and the specific research objectives. Regarding comment 4, we would like to emphasize that our study aims to present general trends, explore key opportunities, and assess the visibility of implementing certain aspects of the Chinese experience of organizational culture in higher education institutions in Ukraine. As for the practical strategies of such implementation, using the autonomy of higher education institutions, each institution in Ukraine has the right to independently determine which aspects of Chinese experience would be beneficial and productive for them, as well as to define the ways of their implementation based on their internal realities, goals, objectives, and available resources. We cannot agree with common five. As universal human values such as respect for teachers, the intrinsic value of education, humanism, and the hierarchical nature of teacher-student relationships, core principles of the Confucian Code in China, are also inherent and natural to Ukrainian culture. We acknowledge that the use of the term Confucian values as an equivalent to traditional cultural values may not be entirely appropriate. However, this term is widely accepted and traditionally used in Chinese academic discourse in this exactly mean. Thank you.
Thank you. Natalia Alexandrovna, are you satisfied with the applicant's
Yes,
reply?
I'm satisfied. I'm satisfied. Thank you for your answers.
Thank you. The floor is given to the official opponent, Natalia Bachmat, Doctor of Pedagogical Sciences professor. The opponent's reference is in the applicant's file in the Specialized Academic Council and is posted on the university's official website. So, Natalia Valerievna, please state the key aspects of your reference.
Okay, thank you. Dear colleagues, allow me to forgo reading my review in full, as it is also available on the website. Instead, I will proceed directly to an analysis of the dissertation and the remark outlined in my review. Dzinh Lan's research is highly relevant in the context of the ongoing transformation of higher education. It examines key aspects of university management, institutional development, and adaptation to global educational trend, including digitalization and the modernization of management approaches. Organizational culture is an essential factor of effective functioning of higher education institution, influencing educational quality, academic integrity, administrative processes, and university competitiveness. The Chinese higher education system serves as a valuable case study, as it successfully integrates traditional cultural values, centralized governance model, and model innovative approaches. For Ukraine, this research is particularly significant of context of higher education reform and integration into European higher education area. Studying China's experience will contribute to the development of effective management strategies. The adaptation of best practice and the modernization of the educational environment. At the same time, while the research is overall evaluated positively, in the importance of highlight some debatable aspect and potential direction for further studies. One, it would be beneficial to include an analysis of private higher education institution in China to examine difference between public and private universities in the context of organizational culture. Additionally, recommendation could be expanded to address both public and private universities in Ukraine, considering their unique governance structures. Two, I'm sorry. A comparative analysis with other global education systems, such as European or American models, would further enhance the study, providing a broader perspective of the effectiveness of different approaches to shaping organizational culture in Chinese universities. 3. The theoretical section, chapter 1, focuses primarily on the pedagogical aspect of organizational culture. However, as the author rightly point out, organizational culture is an interdisciplinary phenomenon. Studies in sociology, psychology, cultural study, and management sciences. A more in-depth exploration of this perspective would significantly strengthen the theoretical foundation of the study. 4. While the study discusses China's state policies on higher education, sections 2.2 and partially 2.3, it would be beneficial to provide a more detailed examination of a specific political strategy, such as the 100 Talents Program or the Best and Road initiative, which are mentioned in the dissertation. Since Appendix 2 contains further information on this initiative, integrating this material more comprehensive would enhance the study's practical implication. Moreover, this could provide valuable insight into the adoption of academic autonomy principles within national policy frameworks, particularly in Ukraine. 5. Chapter 3 does not sufficiently address the potential for long-term education collaboration between universities in China and Ukraine. Exploring this aspect could offer a practical recommendation for adapting successful practice through bilateral academic partnerships. Despite the indifferent debatable aspect and suggestions for improvement, they in no way diminish the overall scientific and practical value of the study. They conduct research significantly expands scientific knowledge on the organizational culture of higher education institution, its role in ensuring the effective functioning of universities, and the possibilities for improving management processes. The study's results hold both theoretical and practical significance, reinforcing their relevance for further development of educational institutions. The dissertation development of organizational culture of higher education institution on the example of institutions of the People's Republic of China fully meets the requirement established for scientific research in especially 011 educational pedagogical sciences, field of knowledge 01 education pedagogy, also complains with criteria for dissertation formatting as approved but order number 40 of the Ministry of Education and Science of Ukraine dated January 12, 2017, with amendments introduced by order number 758 of May 31, 2019, and paragraphs 6-9 to the procedure for awarding the degree of Doctor Philosophy and cancellation of the design of a one-time specialized academic council of the higher education institution, scientific institution, and awarding the degree of Doctor of Philosophy approved by resolution of the Cabinet of Ministers of Ukraine dated January 12, 2022, number 44. Thus, the author of the dissertation, Dzinh Lань, fully deserves the award of the Doctor of Philosophy degree in the field of knowledge 01 education pedagogic, specialty 011 educational pedagogical sciences. Thank you.
We thank distinguished Natalia Valerievna for the comprehensive reference. The floor is given to Dzinh Lань to respond to the official opponent's comments. Please.
Okay. Dear members of the Specialized Academic Council, dear Professor Bahmat, we sincerely appreciate your thorough analysis of our research and regarding the comments provided, we would like to offer the following explanations. We fully agree with comment 3 and will certainly take it into account in our future research. Regarding comment 4 and 5, we partially agree with them, but would like to emphasize that a more detailed examination of the strategies, state initiatives, and local practices influencing the organizational culture of higher education institutions in China would require a significant expansion of the dissertation's volume. As for the discussion on the possibility of establishing long-term educational projects between Chinese and Ukrainian universities, it is currently not practically visible due to the ongoing war. However, I would like to note that our countries have always been strategic partners, particularly in the field of education, and I hope that active collaboration in this area will resume in the near future. We cannot agree with comment 1 made by our esteemed opponent because at present, China has only 200 private higher education institutions, most of which are joined foreign Chinese educational institutions. Some of them are specialized, such as roles training clergy for European religions. Their structure and organizational culture do not reflect the general realities of Chinese higher education system. Regarding comment 2, the aspects recommended by our esteemed opponent fall outside the scope of our research, as a primary objective of our study was to analyze the visibility and applicability of implementing the experience of organizational culture in Chinese higher education institutions within Ukrainian universities, rather than comparing it with the achievements of other educational systems worldwide. Thank you.
Natalia Valeryevna, are you satisfied with the applicant's reply?
Yes, I am satisfied with the applicant's reply. Thank
Okay.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And now the floor is given to the reviewer, Tatiana Pogorelova, Doctor of Philosophy and Pedagogy, Associate Professor. The review's reference is in the applicant's file in the Specialized Academic Council and is posted on the official website of the university. Tatiana Yurievna, we ask you to provide a brief conclusion on Dzinh Lanh's work.
Dear colleagues, I'm truly grateful for this opportunity. The full text of my review was submitted for consideration within the established deadline and has been published on the university's website. Therefore, rather than reading it in full, let me focus on specific points and the debatable aspects of our applicant's work. Developing the organizational culture of higher education institutions is critical to modernizing and improving the educational service sector in Ukraine. Examining the positive experience of other countries, particularly China, which has achieved significant advancements in higher education in recent years, deserves attention. The issue of reforming the organizational culture of higher education institutions is especially relevant for Ukraine, which faces challenges related to integration into the European educational space, digital and globalization transformations, and the need to improve the quality of educational services. Modern organizational culture strengthens stakeholders' trust, fosters educational institutions' sustainable development, and enhances their competitiveness. The National Strategy for Reforming the Education System identifies the modernization of higher education institutions' organizational culture as a priority, as it promotes creating an innovative educational environment that meets contemporary challenges. The topic's practical orientation, the lack of comprehensive theoretical and practical fragmentation, and the necessity for addressing the identified contradictions determined the candidate, Dzinh Lanh's choice of research topic, which is development of organizational culture in higher education institutions, on the example of universities in the People's Republic of China, emphasizing its relevance and timeliness. The applicant has done significant work in analyzing case studies of Chinese universities. A positive aspect is that they did not limit their study to higher education institutions in a specific region, but provided sufficient material in their research to offer an understanding for the overall state of affairs and the dynamics of processes in the whole country. As a result of the research, the candidate has published 15 papers, 12 of which are sole authored. A review of the content of these published articles and conference presentations shows that the candidate has fulfilled the requirements outlined in paragraphs 8 and 9 of the procedure for awarding the degree of Doctor of Philosophy and annulment of decisions of one-time specialized academic councils of higher education institutions or research institutions on the award of the degree of Doctor of Philosophy approved by Cabinet of Ministers of Ukraine, Resolution number 44, dated January 12, 2022. The detailed review of the thesis text revealed no academic integrity violations, academic plagiarism, self-plagiarism, falsification, or fabrication. Evaluating Dzinh Lan's thesis as a whole, I find it appropriate to draw attention to several debatable aspects. In analyzing the concept, structure, and methodological approaches to organizational culture, particularly in higher education institutions, presented in Chapter 1, the author relies primarily on the works of European, Ukrainian, and American researchers. However, the contribution of scholars from Asian countries, including China, have been overlooked. The materials in subsection 1.3 demonstrate how specific methodologies for studying organizational culture are applied in practice in modern higher education institutions in China. However, this section lacks theoretical reflection on the factors that made these methodologies suitable, specifically for the Chinese context. Next, in subsection 2.2 of the thesis, Dzinh Lань presents a thesis on the influence of the classical Confucian model on the organizational culture of modern higher education institutions in China, specifically the materials presented in Table 2.1. It would be worthwhile to delve deeper into how Confucian principles of hierarchy and harmony specifically affect the modern management practices of Chinese universities, as the author has identified this factor as one of the key determinants of the functioning and development of organizational culture of Chinese higher education institutions. Lastly, in subsection 3.3, the applicant proposes prospects for improving the organizational culture of higher education institutions in China and Ukraine using mutual exchange of experiences. The criterion selected for comparison was the presence of shared and unique challenges regarding the functioning of organizational culture, taking into account the current legislation and the realities provided to Ukrainian higher education institutions by the principle of autonomy. From our perspective, it would have been more appropriate to apply the principle of specificity by offering recommendations for improving the organizational culture of a particular university in Ukraine, considering the factors above, and acknowledging the impact of martial law due to Russian aggression as an external influence. Still, the above comments are debatable and do not affect the positive conclusion regarding the thesis. Thus, the study of the dissertation, Development of Organizational Culture in Higher Education Institutions, on the example of universities of the People's Republic of China, leads to the conclusion that the research corresponds to the specialty 011 Educational and Pedagogical Sciences and meets the requirements for dissertations submitted for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy. Specifically, the thesis adheres to the requirements outlined in paragraphs 6, 7, 8, and 9 of the procedure for awarding the degree of Doctor of Philosophy and annulment of decisions of one-time specialized academic councils of higher education institutions or research institutions on the award of the degree of Doctor of Philosophy approved by Cabinet of Ministers Resolution number 44 of January 12, 2022. The author deserves to be awarded the Doctor of Philosophy degree in Education and Pedagogy in the specialty 011 Educational and Pedagogical Sciences. Thank you.
We thank distinguished Tatjana Yudina for a comprehensive report. The floor is given to the applicant to respond to the reviewers' comments, please.
Okay. We sincerely appreciate the analysis and the comments provided by the esteemed Professor Horilova, and would like to offer some clarifications regarding the points raised. While we generally agree with comments 1 and 2, we would like to note that the works of Chinese theoretical scholars on the issue of organizational culture in general and educational institutions in particular are mostly commentaries on the idea of European and American researchers such as Hofstede and Shim, rather than independent scientific investigations. Using the same approaches, modern Chinese universities apply organizational culture methodologies in their original form without subjecting them to critical analysis. In response to comment 3, we would like to explain that Confucian principles of hierarchy and harmony significantly influence the managerial practices of Chinese universities. The hierarchical structure clearly defines the distribution of roles and responsibilities, where senior members such as deans or university leadership hold greater authority and have a stronger influence on decision-making. Harmony in relationships between administration, faculty, and students fosters collective work and minimizes conflicts. We cannot agree with comment 3 made by our esteemed reviewer, as our dissertation is theoretical and does not involve an experimental component, which aligns with the current legislative requirements of Ukraine for this type of research. The development, implementation, and evaluation of the practical application of certain Chinese educational approaches in a specific Ukrainian university require more time and experimental validation, which does not correspond to the research's current objectives and framework. Nevertheless, we sincerely appreciate the comments provided by our esteemed reviewer and will certainly take them into account in our future scientific work. Thank you.
Tatiana Yurievna, are you satisfied with the applicant's reply?
Yes, I'm fully satisfied with the applicant's reply. Thank you.
Thank you. The floor is given to the reviewer, Irina Hontarenko, candidate of Pedagogical Sciences, Associate Professor. The reviewer's reference is in the applicant's file in the Specialized Academic Council and is posted on the university's official website. Irina Sergeyevna, please give a short conclusion on the applicant's work.
Thank you. Dear Chairman, dear colleagues, dear Dzinh Lань, the full review is on the university's official website, and I would like to tell about the main points of the thesis. Detailed examination of the content of Dzinh Lanh's thesis gives grounds to assert that proposed developments have scientific novelty and attest to the personal contribution of the applicant to the development of theoretical and methodological provisions and recommendations for the development of organizational culture of higher education institutions. The thesis, the development of organizational culture of higher education institutions, on the example of universities of the People's Republic of China, was carried out at a higher methodological level using a set of modern research methods. The main scientific provisions and conclusions formulated in the dissertation logically follow from the results obtained and are sufficiently substantiated, testify to the fulfillment of the tasks and achievement of the research goal, which corresponds to the set of tasks of the thesis. The scientific novelty of the obtained results lies in the improvement and development of theoretical provisions and methodological approaches to the development of organizational culture of higher education institutions. The theoretical significance of Dzinh Lanh's dissertation lies in the deepening of theoretical principles of the development of organizational culture in higher education, particularly in China. The study expounds the scientific discourse by considering the influence of national traditions, state policy and global educational transformations. The introduction clearly defines the research aim, objectives, and methodological foundations, highlighting its scientific novelty and practical significance. Chapter 1 explores the theoretical and methodological foundations of organizational culture in higher education. The author examines it as an educational reality encompassing values, traditions, and practices that shape interactions within universities. Special attention is given to its role in fostering innovation and positive university image, presents models of organizational culture distinguishing between innovation oriented and stability-focused approaches, discusses research methods emphasizing interpretive, phenomenological, and empirical approaches, including surveys, interviews, and focus groups. Chapter 2 provides an in-depth analysis of organizational culture in Chinese universities, focusing on organizational structure, national traditions, state policy, and management approaches. Also examines the hierarchical structure and, moreover, analyzes historical and political factors shaping university culture. Explores modern management strategies, including digitalization and social responsibility. The chapter illustrates how traditional values and contemporary management contribute to Chinese universities' global success. Chapter 3 discusses the transformation of organizational culture in Ukrainian and Chinese universities in the context of globalization and innovation, examines the challenges of Ukrainian universities, emphasizing the need for autonomy and European integration, highlights how Chinese universities balance traditions with globalization and technological advancements, explores prospects for collaboration between Ukrainian and Chinese universities through joint project and experience exchange, aiming to enhance education quality and integrate innovations. The dissertation's conclusions are well structured and logically substantiated, confirming that the researcher successfully achieved the study's objectives. The practical value of the research is confirmed by its implementation in the educational process of higher education institutions. The study's findings have broad practical application. In particular, the dissertation materials can be integrated into courses of general pedagogy, the history of pedagogy, higher education pedagogy, educational management theory and practice, as well as modern and innovative educational technologies. Dzінь Lan's thesis contains an abstract introduction through chapters, conclusions, a list of reference, and appendixes. The work is presented in a scientific style. Its content has a clear logical sequence of tasks which reveal the stages of achieving the goal. In general, assessing Dzінь Lan's thesis positively, I consider to draw attention to certain discussion points. The first one, in my opinion, the study addresses the impact of digital technologies on the organizational culture of Chinese universities, despite its significance in modern education. While briefly mentioned in sections 2.3 and 3.2, a more detailed analysis of digitalization in university operations, for example, communication between departments, online mentoring, and hierarchy building in virtual settings, would enhance practical recommendations for Ukrainian universities by providing established algorithms and examples. The second, the author does not present a comparative analysis of the concepts of organizational culture and organizational culture of a higher education institution across different academic schools, which could have highlighted diverse approaches to this phenomenon. The next, Chapter 2 insufficiently considers regional differences in the organizational culture of Chinese universities, particularly between northern, southern, and western region. The study also overlooks aspects related to universities serving ethnic minority students when discussing national traditions as a key factor in organizational culture, section 2.2. The examples provides focus mainly on national holiday and general traditions. In Chapter 3, section 3.3, the author suggests several strategies for transforming the organizational culture of Ukrainian universities by adapting Chinese experiences. However, the lack of clear classification complicates their practical application. At the same time, I believe that discussion comments have a debatable nature and do not decrease the general positive assessment as for the theoretical significant value for the thesis. It is relevant, independent, and completed research. So the conclusion, this thesis corresponds totally to special educational pedagogical sciences, and the author Dzinh Lan deserves to be obtained the Doctor of Philosophy degree in the field of knowledge, education, pedagogy in specialty O1 educational pedagogical sciences. Thank you.
With distinguished Irina Sergeevna for the comprehensive reference. The floor is given to the applicant to respond to the reviewer's comments, please.
Okay. We sincerely appreciate the analysis and comments provided by the esteemed Professor Hunterenko. Regarding the remarks made, we would like to offer our clarifications. We fully agree with comment number 1 and number 3 and accept them in their entirety. Regarding the comment number 2, we would like to emphasize that the primary goal of our study was not to conduct a broad theoretical analysis of these concepts, but rather to examine the specific features of the organizational culture of Chinese higher education institutions and the possibilities of its implementation in Ukraine. However, we will take this recommendation into account in our future research, which will allow for a deeper exploration of the diversity of approaches to this phenomenon in global scientific discourse. Concerning comment number 4, we acknowledge that paragraph 3.3 indeed proposed several strategies for transforming the organizational culture of Ukrainian higher education institutions through the adaptation of Chinese experience. However, their classifications and prioritization may be determined by individual institutions based on their resources, strategic goals, and internal conditions. Since Ukrainian universities have autonomy in selecting managerial approaches, a rigid hierarchy for implementing these strategies may not be appropriate. We believe that the comments provided by our esteemed reviewer will serve as a strong foundation for our further scientific research. Thank you.
Irina Sergeevna, are you satisfied with the applicant's reply?
Yes, I'm satisfied. Thank you.
Thank you. Dear colleagues, now let us proceed to the discussion of the Council's draft decision on awarding the Doctor of Philosophy degree. I propose to include all the comments expressed in the references in the Council's decision. Are there any objections? There are none. Dear members of the Specialized Academic Council, is there anything you would like to add to your previous statements, please? If everything has already been stated, then for my part, as the chairman of the Council, I would say a few words concerning the thesis by Dzinh Lань on theme the development of organizational culture of higher education institutions on the example of universities of the People's Republic of China. So, I can confidently assert that Dzinh Lanh's research is really interesting, comprehensive, and promising, and it covers important issues concerning the development of Chinese higher education system in terms of studying the current state and searching for the ways for improving the organizational culture of its institutions. I'm absolutely sure that Dzinh Lань, as a quite mature researcher with a great scientific potential, will not stop at this point and will keep working in this prospective field. In view of this, I would like to give some recommendations to distinguished applicant with respect to further investigation. First, it would be relevant to broaden the scope of the analysis of modern universities in the People's Republic of China in terms of their organizational structure, missions, and goals, in order to have a more objective basis for developing strategies and implementing transformations aimed at advancing the existing Chinese educational system. Second, Dzinh Lань rather briefly touches gender aspects of the organizational culture in Chinese universities in the thesis, namely in subsection 2.2, where he speaks about the role of the Women's Federation and the national program Women in Education. As for further research, I would advise the applicant to carry out a more profound analysis of this topical issue in terms of the impact of gender policies on staffing, distribution of leadership positions, and general management principles that would contribute to a deeper understanding of the mechanism of formation and evolution of the organizational culture in Chinese universities. In general, I can conclude that Dzinh Lanh's thesis is a full-fledged, pedagogically valuable research, which can be only positively rated. Who among those present also would like to speak? So, if there are no more statements, then we can move on to the applicant's final word. Dzinh Lань, please, the floor is yours.
Okay. Honorable Mr. Chairman, esteemed members of the Specialized Academic Council, distinguished guests, first and foremost, I would like to express my sincere gratitude to Professor Ponomarenko, Rector of Simon Kuznets Kharkiv National University of Economics, Doctor of Economic Sciences, Professor, and Honored Worker of Science and Technology of Ukraine, as well as to the Department of Postgraduate Studies for providing the necessary condition for my studies, thesis preparation, and defense. My deepest appreciation goes to my supervisor, Professor Oksana, Doctor of Pedagogical Sciences, Professor, for her invaluable guidance, unwavering support, and profound scientific expertise. Her mentorship, patience, and encouragement were instrumental at every stage of my research. I would also like to extend my sincere thanks to Professor Shumsky, Chairman of Specialized Academic Council, Doctor of Pedagogical Sciences, Professor, as well as to my esteemed opponents, Professor Georgieva and Professor Bakhmat, both doctors of pedagogical sciences and professors, for their meticulous review, insightful analysis, and constructive feedback, which have provided valuable direction for my future research. Additionally, I'm profoundly grateful to my reviewers, Professor Porilova, PhD in Education, Associate Professor, and Professor Hontarenko, Candidate of Pedagogical Sciences, Associate Professor. Their time, thoughtful evaluation, and critical yet supportive comments have greatly enriched my work and will undoubtedly shape my further academic pursuits. Finally, I extend my heartfelt thanks to all the specialists and organizations that provide feedback on my thesis. Your contributions have been invaluable, and I deeply appreciate your engagement. Thank you all for your attention and support. Thank you very much.
Dzinh Lань, thank you very much for your words. Dear colleagues, now it's time to vote. According to the current procedure, the one-time Specialized Academic Council makes a decision by open voting, during which each member of the council openly speaks up for or against awarding the Doctor of Philosophy degree. So, who would like to start? The official opponent, Natalia Terentьева, Doctor of Pedagogical Sciences, Professor at the Department of Physical Culture and Sports, National University of Life and Environmental Sciences of Ukraine. Natalia Alexandrovna, please.
I vote for.
We thank our esteemed Natalia. Thank you. The official opponent, Natalia Bachmat, Doctor of Pedagogical Sciences, Professor, Head of the Department of Theory and Methods of Primary Education, Кам'янець-Подільський Івано-Гієнко National University. Natalia Valeryevna, please.
Thank you. Dear colleagues, I would like to draw your attention to the higher quality of this dissertation. The research is logically structured, methodology well-founded, and conceptually rich. All conclusions are clearly aligned with the state research objectives, demonstrating coherence and consistency in scientific analysis. The author has successfully achieved the research goal, which involved systemizing theoretical approaches, summarizing the experience of development, organizational culture of Chinese universities, and justifying the potential for implementing Chinese practice in Ukrainian higher education institution. The result of the study make a significant scientific and practical contribution. They expand the understanding of organizational culture of higher education, highlighting its relationship with national traditions, state governance, and contemporary educational trends. The proposed recommendation for improving the organizational culture of Ukrainian universities based on Chinese are well justified and practically applicable. While the research does not offer a ready-made model for direct implementation, it outlines key direction for development that can be adapted to Ukrainian reality and needs. Furthermore, a practically commendable aspect of this study is that while presenting the experience of China, Dzinh Lань also acknowledge areas where Ukrainian university offer valuable and relevant insights for China. This bilateral perspective enhance the study depth and applicability, making it not only comparative analysis, but also a platform for mutual learning and academic exchange. Thank you.
We thank our respected Natalia Valeryevna. The reviewer, Tatiana Pogorelova, Doctor of Philosophy and Pedagogy, Associate Professor, Head of the Department of Pedagogy, Foreign Philology and Translation, Simon Kuznets, Kharkiv National University of Economics. Tatiana Yurievna, please.
Dear colleagues, dear Dzinh Lань, I want to note that the thesis presented today is a comprehensive study distinguished by its relevance, scientific novelty, and practical significance. The author demonstrates a high level of theoretical competence, basing his conclusions on a wide range of scientific sources and empirical materials. Dzinh Lань has proven himself to be a really diligent researcher. The developed recommendations for adapting the successful experience of Chinese universities to the realities of Ukraine hold significant practical value for reforming the country's higher education system. This work makes an essential contribution to the development of educational sciences, and its conclusions and recommendations hold the potential for application at the national and international levels. I will fully support this research as it represents a valuable contribution to both academic expertise and practical advancements in higher education. Thank you.
We thank our respected Tetiana Yurievna, the reviewer, Irina Hontarenko, candidate of Pedagogical Sciences, Associate Professor of the Department of Pedagogy, Foreign Philology and Translation, Simon Kuznets, Kharkiv National University of Economics. Irina Sergeyevna, please.
Thank you. I would like to stress that the thesis by Dzinh Lань on theme the development of organizational culture of higher education institutions on the example of universities of the People's Republic of China really meets all the requirements for a PhD thesis in terms of its content, and its author Dzinh Lань deserves to be awarded the Doctor of Philosophy degree in the field of knowledge education pedagogy in specialty O11 educational pedagogical sciences, and I vote for. Thank you.
We thank our esteemed Irina Sergeyevna. And now, let me express my own opinion as the chairman of the council. So, having analyzed the thesis and based on the defense, I can assert that the thesis by Dzinh Lань on theme the development for a PhD thesis, in terms of its content and its author, Dzinh Lань, deserves to be awarded the Doctor of Philosophy degree in the field of knowledge 01 Education Pedagogy and specialty 011 Educational Pedagogical Sciences. Therefore, I join my colleagues' opinion and also vote for. Thus, all the members of the Specialized Academic Council expressed a positive opinion on the results of Dzinh Lány's research and voted for awarding him the Doctor of Philosophy degree in the field of knowledge 01 Education Pedagogy and specialty 011 Educational Pedagogical Sciences. And now, let us record this decision by raising your hands. So, for awarding the PhD degree, please vote. Unanimously. Thus, based on the results of open voting, as well as on fulfilling the requirements of the procedure for awarding the Doctor of Philosophy degree and revoking the decision of a one-time Specialized Academic Council of Higher Education Establishment, Scientific Institution, on awarding the Doctor of Philosophy degree, approved by the resolution of the Cabinet of Ministers of Ukraine of the 12th of January 2022, number 44, the Specialized Academic Council, DF 64 055 awards Dzinh Lань the Doctor of Philosophy degree in the field of knowledge 01 Education Pedagogy and specialty 011 Educational Pedagogical Sciences. Dear Dzinh Lань, we sincerely congratulate you on this new, well-deserved status, which is a very important milestone in your academic career, and wish you success in your further research work. At this point, the meeting of the Specialized Academic Council is considered closed. Thank you.
Thanks for your help. Спасибо большое.
Будь ласка, Будь ласка, Дзінь Лань, будь ласка.
Okay, thank you.